Welcome to Have You Read It, the channel where we bring books to life, one summary at a time. Today we're exploring The Art of Uncertainty, How to Navigate Chance, Ignorance, Risk, and Luck, by Professor Sir David Spiegelhalter. It's a fascinating journey into the world of uncertainty, a world we all inhabit, whether we realize it or not. Spiegelhalter, a distinguished statistician, guides us through the often confusing landscape of chance, probability, risk, and even luck, offering insights and tools to help us navigate our uncertain lives. The book begins with a very personal anecdote about the author's grandfather, a gas officer in World War I. He was injured, and this seemingly unfortunate event actually saved his life, as it kept him from being sent to the Somme, where his battalion faced the devastating spring offensive. This personal story sets the stage for the book's core message. Uncertainty is woven into the fabric of our existence, from the unlikely chain of events that led to our birth to the unpredictable nature of daily life. Spiegelhalter argues that uncertainty isn't some abstract concept, but a relationship between us and the world. It's about our conscious awareness of ignorance. This ignorance can be about the future. What will happen, the present, what's happening now that I don't know about, or the past, what happened that I can't recall or haven't discovered. He emphasizes that two people can reasonably have different levels of uncertainty about the same thing because their knowledge and perspectives differ. The book challenges us to think more carefully about uncertainty, not just relying on gut feelings, but engaging our analytical minds. This is especially important because our intuitive thinking tends to oversimplify, leading to overconfidence and neglecting vital information. Spiegelhalter points out the limitations of everyday language when describing uncertainty. Words like likely, possible, and rare are too vague and mean different things to different people. He illustrates this with the example of the Bay of Pigs invasion, a disastrous military operation partly fueled by misinterpretations of probabilistic terms. The book emphasizes the importance of quantifying uncertainty whenever possible, using numbers instead of vague words. The book then introduces the concept of probability, tracing its origins back to gamblers analyzing games of chance. It guides readers through the basic rules of probability, using examples like coin flips, dice rolls, and the classic problem of points, how to fairly divide the stakes in an interrupted game. Spiegelhalter even explains how these principles were used in Casanova's surprisingly successful French lottery. The Art of Uncertainty explores the fascinating world of coincidences and luck. Why do surprising events happen so often? Are they truly random or just the result of complex interactions we don't fully grasp? The book examines various interpretations of probability, from the classical based on symmetries to the frequentist based on long-run frequencies, and the subjective based on personal beliefs. The author reveals that even statisticians disagree about what probability really is. A key concept introduced is Bayesian analysis. This approach uses probability theory to revise our beliefs as new evidence emerges. It's like having a mental model of the world and constantly updating it based on new information. Spiegelhalter uses examples from World War II code-breaking, Alan Turing's work, to modern facial recognition systems to illustrate how Bayesian thinking works. He even suggests that our brains might function in a Bayesian way. The book also examines scientific uncertainty, showing how even in fields like physics and medicine, there's always a degree of doubt. It explores the limitations of statistical models, emphasizing that all models are wrong, but some are useful. The book discusses confidence intervals, p-values, and other statistical tools, cautioning against over-interpreting them. It also advocates for transparency and acknowledging the subjective judgments that inevitably creep into scientific analyses. Spiegelhalter discusses the complex issue of causality. How do we determine if A causes B? This is especially relevant in areas like climate change and crime, where causality is often debated. The book uses examples like the link between smoking and lung cancer, climate attribution studies, and forensic evidence to illustrate the challenges of establishing causality. It emphasizes the importance of distinguishing between general causality, Does A tend to cause B? And specific causality, did A cause B in this particular instance? The book then ventures into the territory of predicting the future, from football results and weather forecasts to economic projections and climate models. It highlights the different sources of uncertainty in these predictions, including random variability, uncertainty about model parameters, and the limitations of the models themselves. It stresses the importance of humility when making predictions, especially when human behavior plays a role. The Art of Uncertainty also tackles risk assessment, exploring everything from everyday risks to catastrophic events like nuclear accidents and pandemics. It discusses the use of fat-tailed distributions to model extreme events, the challenges of communicating risk effectively, and the tension between precaution and freedom. It introduces the concept of the tolerability of risk framework, where risks are classified as acceptable, tolerable, or intolerable. The final chapters consider philosophical questions about the nature of uncertainty and the limits of our knowledge. Is the world truly random or just incredibly complex? Can we ever really know anything for certain? The book doesn't offer easy answers, but it encourages us to embrace uncertainty, to be humbled by it, and even to find some joy in the unknown. The main takeaway from The Art of Uncertainty is that uncertainty is an intrinsic part of life, and rather than fearing it or trying to ignore it, we should embrace it. It encourages a nuanced understanding of uncertainty, moving beyond gut feelings to more analytical thinking. Here are some easy-to-remember heuristics from the book. Quantify your uncertainty. Whenever possible, use numbers instead of vague words to describe your uncertainty. Think probabilities, not just possibilities. Think Bayesian. Update your beliefs as new evidence emerges. Don't be afraid to change your mind. All models are wrong, but some are useful. Don't blindly trust models. Understand their limitations and assumptions. Distinguish between hazard and risk. Hazard is the potential for harm. Risk is the chance of that harm actually happening. Be trustworthy in your communication. Be clear, balanced, and upfront about uncertainty. Don't try to persuade, try to inform. Embrace uncertainty. Accept that you can't know everything, and be open to the unexpected. Thanks for watching. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you never miss our next book dive.